Brendon Burchard is a 3-time New York Times best-selling author and high-performance coach who has trained over 1.5 million people. He went from struggling with depression and surviving a serious car accident to becoming the world's highest-paid motivation and marketing trainer. Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 of Believe Nation because I love it.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Brendon Burchard, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Generate happiness.
People should want to have a high level of joy and happiness in their life.
Yeah.
But they cannot wait for it. I always say, the power plant doesn't have energy. It generates energy. I mean, technically, it transforms energy from one medium to another. And we can do the same thing. You don't have happiness. You have to generate the happiness. You don't have joy. You generate joy. And when you learn to take control of your power and your energy in that way, then life becomes so much more fulfilling and so much more fun. And it doesn't become fake or forced. Because it's fake and forced, this all day.
Yeah.
That's not your natural state.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's how you know. Take a person, I just got back from a big vacation with my lady and we were down on the beach and take any person, put them on a beach for a while and they're not like, your natural state is like, this is beautiful, this is great. There's awe, there's inspiration, there's joy there. Tap back into that and you'll be more of a high performer.
Rule number 2, live each day intentionally.
It's so simple. Like, when you get that life is really short and you felt that before, either by you were threatened or you've had someone near and dear die, but when you have that real essence in you that says life is short, have reverence for it, live it, that's a really big thing. I got that at 19, and I learned specifically that if we have a moment of cognition before the end of our life, we tend to ask questions to evaluate if we're happy. So if I have any impact in the world, it's gonna come from that experience where I learned that the ultimate lesson is determine what the questions you're going to ask at the end of your life are going to be. Find out those questions. What will you ask at the end of your life to evaluate your life so that you would know if you were happy with your life? Like, figure out those questions and then live each day intentionally so you're happy with the answers at the end. For me, the questions I had were, did I live? Which I hadn't. I hadn't been living my life. I'd been thinking about taking my life. Right. Did I love? No, my heart was broken. And I put up all these walls to keep out other people. And I always say, sometimes the walls we put up to keep out the bad guys prevent the good guys from getting in. And suddenly in our own self-protection, we block out the very thing we want, which is connection. And I learned that I would ask, did I matter? 22 years ago, on a dark Caribbean night, I'm standing on the crumpled hood of a car, bleeding out. My friend and I just wrecked a car. He's screaming at the top of his lungs. He's bleeding. We don't know if we're gonna live. And I'm standing on the hood of this car, looking down at all this blood, and I'm in terror. And I just remember looking down at the hood and just thinking, did I even matter? And I hated the answer at that time in my life. Because I'm a 19-year-old kid. I didn't know about impact theory. For real. I didn't know to think about that. Young kids sometimes, they don't know to think about that. I didn't know to think about legacy, meaning. Did I matter? I didn't think I did. But the good news is, I'm a good learner. And I felt like I got a second chance from God that night. And I learned that it was really important for me to figure out how do I live, and how do I love, and how do I matter in such a way that if I face my death again, I'll know I've earned the second chance. And so what I want to tell people, and the impact I want, is I just want people to know your questions, man. Live intentionally and earn the life that you've been given, because this moment's a blessing. So earn this moment and live intentionally.
Rule number 3, demonstrate courage.
demonstrate courage. And I think all personal development people, of course, but they actually, high performers do demonstrate courage. Like we can measure it from peer feedback. We can measure it from their self-assessments. We can measure it from, we have this thing called the high performance indicator assessment. You take it, you get scored on all 6 habits. It's free on the internet, on the interwebs. But this one's peaked when we did the research and I didn't know it. And it is, high performers are more willing to share their ideas, their thoughts, their feelings, what they need, what they want, and they do it more consistently than their peers. Even when there's risk or uncertainty, you do a great job. I know you have, the book's coming out for you, talking about men and being vulnerable. That's demonstrating courage. That's, when you're not conditioned that way or you're not used to that, that it might not seem like a big deal, but it is.
Yeah.
When you talked about me doing this interview, that was like, it might not seem like demonstrating courage to go on Lewis Howes, but it is because I admire you. And I'm not used to sharing a lot. I'm usually let the work speak for itself.
Yeah.
So I had to I need to share, being willing to share this in different and unique ways. But I think for most people, it's when you were in your last meeting, did you share for your ideas and fight for them?
Did you share for your ideas?
Did you share your ideas and fight for them? When you wanted to post that video and you were scared to death because people are going to make fun of you, did you do it? And when you wanted to tell your spouse that you're not getting what you need, did you say it? Because all those are demonstrating courage. It's not just, courage, we think pulling someone out of the river or something. And that's part of it.
Rule number 4, use guilt as a weapon.
The human brain has an incredible capacity for guilt. And most people unconsciously let that roll over them and kick their butt and make a horrible life. I love guilt. Guilt is a tool. Guilt is a weapon. Guilt does not have to be a bad thing. It's not like I perpetuate, but I'm like, I love that I feel bad when I don't do a good job. Most people hate that about themselves. I love that feeling. I'm like, I didn't do a good job there. Next time I will. So some people, guilt is discouragement. Other people, it's a signal for learning. To me, guilt is a signal for learning. It is the body and the brain, the spirit, knowing what is right, knowing what is wrong, knowing what's great, knowing what's mediocre. And it's saying, hey, do a little better. Now, if it's translated into a negative impulse, then some people call it guilt. But I'm totally cool with guilt. I think it's good that we feel bad when we do something that is below our standard or that's not right, because that impulse to go, I want to do that better.
My friend Evan Carmichael's book, listen, humans are built to serve. Some people are built to serve the world, others want to serve the 25 people closest to them. But in either case, humans are built to serve. So if you're not happy right now, it's because you're not serving enough. You got to pick up this book because it's so inspiring to remind you that we're all here to contribute, to make a difference, to make an impact, and this is your field guide for that.
Rule number 5, be honest.
Stage 1 was I was honest that I was a hot mess. I came back from the accident and I'm like, I'm a mess. I've been depressed. I was going to kill myself. I'm sad. My grades suck. My friends are kind of like losers. Not in a judgmental way to them, but in how I wanted to feel. They made me feel bad about myself. And that's why I think a loser isn't what they've accomplished, it's how they make other people feel. Two different things. They made me feel bad. And I thought, I don't have it together. And that began my great and long-term committed search to studying psychology. Because I'm like, why do I think so dumb? Why do I feel so bad about myself? How do you overcome, depression? How do I deal with this sadness? Why do I still have so much hatred in my heart about something that happened so long ago? Like just all this, like people say forgiveness. How do you do that?
Rule number 6, have determination.
I remember seeing, this is way back, Oprah had Oprah.com. And I thought, how cool would it be to have your name, .com. Now, I sought this kid out. So I went to Brendon.com, and this guy, he had his resume up there. And that's all he had, was a resume. So I emailed the guy, and I'm like, hey man, I'd really love to own this website. Could I buy it from you? He goes, no, it's my name. I'm like, dang it. And he says, no, I got my mom, she's got, an email. We have an email associated with the domain.
Right.
All this stuff. I said, oh man. All right. So I set it in my calendar. Every 6 months for 6 years.
Whoa.
My calendar would go off and I'd email him again. Email him again. Email him again. It took 6 years. On the 6th year, he said, you know what? Yeah, I'd be interested in that conversation. Sold it. So I got Brendon.com. I'm really happy about that. Really thrilled. Stupid story, but I was like, yes! Determination!
Rule number 7, challenge others.
I found this quote that said, the journey to greatness often begins the moment that challenge and contribution become more important than comfort and ease.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's really good.
And so we have to challenge ourselves, but the habit here, the social habit, is develop influence. And you develop influence. Teach people how to think, role model the way, and then make sure that you are challenging people in those 3 areas. Challenge their character. You got to do that delicately. The book teaches you how. Make sure you challenge relationships because that's so important, and challenge people with what they're giving. And if you do that strategically enough, part of your message in greatness is challenging people to follow their dreams. Yeah. You say it all the time. Yeah. It's one reason I love your show. You're constantly challenging people to follow their dreams. And not just like, hey, follow your dreams. Like, hey, do this.
Rule number 8, have perspective.
I want to learn to be confident. I want to learn how to communicate well. And I want to learn to have great relationships. So I studied those things really intensely, and I just tried them. And I tried them, and I was so good about making little goal sheets and trying it. And that was the year I also began my monthly goals. So on the first day of every month, to this day, I write a personal goal and a professional goal. That is outside of all the things projects I'm trying to achieve. The personal goal is something like, be more patient this month. And every day I look out on the way out, I put on the door. I'd walk out and be patient. No matter what my other goals or objectives were, that was like the defining personal theme. So I created monthly challenge themes for 23 years. Patience have come up a lot of times. It's like joy has come up a lot of times.
Yes.
Staying centered has come up a lot of times. It's not like I have ever achieved. No one achieves personal development.
Agreed.
Or purpose.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
It is like an intention and a dedication. And so that's where it started. And by studying all that, it gave me the edge. I really believe when you are a student of life, especially in psychology and philosophy, you get the edge. Because when people are having problems, you can see perspective around it. And once you have perspective, you got superpowers. Because most people are trapped in their problems. And if you have perspective of how people have solved or managed these things in the past, you have superpowers to people. They can't believe, like, how did you know to say that or that? I'm like, I read that in a personal development book 10 years ago. And that made the big difference for me.
Rule number 9, be grateful.
I'm extremely grateful for the patience and love of my family in this particular project. It took me away more than anything else. I'm actually really grateful that I've gotten to know you better and getting this to be the first in-depth conversation with it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because I think that you're very talented at holding a space for people, your team too, about holding a space for people to just be like, this is me, this is what I about.
Yeah.
And then I would also, I'm always grateful for God for the second chance I got from standing on the hood of the car. Like, I got it. Like, knowing that each day you get up and it's not, self-help, psychobabble. It's like knowing that life is limited and you get a second chance every morning of showing the world more of who you are, breathing, taking that walk with your love, just having that every day, that kind of new beginning. I feel that in my career. I'm sharing that with you now. And by the time this comes out, I'll have a new show out, the Brendon Show. I've never done that before as a new opportunity. I'm grateful for the new opportunities. I think right now you and I have the ability to share our messages farther and wider than we've ever had before. I'm super grateful that we're alive, right now, at this time on the planet when I think our messages really need to be heard, when we're surrounded sometimes by a culture, society, politics is so negative. To have a platform to share something good right now, I'm so grateful for that.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is push through.
The number one issue with being productive isn't that people usually don't know what to do with the day. It's that they look at it with dread and they accept that feeling and they stop. They go, I don't wanna, so they stop. Even though if they looked past the immediate dreadful activity and looked into the future about the benefits it would give them, if they could reconnect with that, they could push through. It's that when we get in the short term, just automatic feelings, automatic emotions that come up, those things, when they're not monitored consciously, and sometimes they're not overridden by a higher calling, a higher ambition to serve, a higher mission, then what ends up happening is we go, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll skip this one and, I'll get the workout in tomorrow, and then workout comes tomorrow, I'll get it in next Friday, and then it doesn't come in next Friday, and then I'll get the work in, the work doesn't happen, and we keep telling ourselves these stories, I'll do it when I feel like it. But I hope if one thing you've learned here is the power plant doesn't have energy, you need to generate the energy in which you need to excel and serve in this world.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video? And write down in the comments below when you're going to take action on that takeaway this week. When you schedule in what day, what time, and what place you're gonna take action, you have a 91% chance of actually following through, compared to just 35% if you just got motivated but never created a plan. And when you share your plan and have accountability, you give yourself an even higher chance of following through. So in the comments below, write down your single biggest takeaway as well as your specific plan of action, because I want to celebrate with you.
So you're observing your life dispassionately from a place of mindfulness and understanding where the judgment isn't there that's negative. And so that's a huge part of it. Because a lot of people, the reason they hate self-audits and they hate self-evaluation because it feels bad, but they're letting it feel bad. Instead, it's like, how do I perceive this and think through instead what my real intention should be? So how do I do it? And here's how I'd recommend others do it. First, I have my high performance planner, which literally details out. But if you don't have the high performance planner, here's a simple thing to do. 3 things I want you to do every day. First, I want you to write 10 prompts for the morning for yourself. 10 prompts. Those prompts for you might say, how can I be a great mother today? How can I show appreciation to someone on my team today? It might say, how do I care for my health today? It might say, 3 words I want to keep in mind all day. The message I have for myself today is this. The most difficult thing I'm going to face today would be this, and the best way my best self could overcome it is this. 2 big long-term projects to keep in mind are this. Right? Those, write down 10 prompts. So the high performance planner begins in the morning. There's the 10 prompts that we know correlate with long-term success that we've measured. There they are. So I fill that out every morning. Second thing I want you to do, at the end of the night, 10 more prompts. What did I learn about myself today? What did I learn about other people today? Did I demonstrate my best today? Where did I not? Where did I get stuck? Where did I get frustrated? What negative thought did I have today that I don't need to have anymore? How did I treat people today? Did I move as swiftly towards my goals today? That type of thing. But the other piece about it is at night, I do the scorecard. So for me, it's the 6 habits of high performance now: clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, and courage. And so there's the word clarity, and it says, was I very clear about exactly what I need to do today to move forward? Score 1 to 5. And so what you got to do, the third thing I want to do is build your scorecard for the end of the night. And your scorecard might say dad. Your scorecard might say leader. Your scorecard might say specific. But what I've made it is habit driven. So it's generate energy. Did I generate the energy I needed today to deliver my best? Productivity. Did I avoid distraction today and only focus on the needle moving activities?
If you want to change your life for free in 30 days, check the link below me. Or if you want 10 more awesome rules from Brendon Burchard, click the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.